All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really timely concept, confidence-first learning in the age of AI. We hear so much chatter these days about artificial intelligence taking over our jobs, our schools, basically our whole lives, right? But we're actually going to look at the exact opposite perspective today. We're going to explore why AI actually makes your uniquely human qualities more important and more valuable than ever before. So let's get into it.
First up, setting the stage, the age of AI.
You know, there's a really fascinating backstory here that frames this whole shift in perspective. The author spent time training at Randolph Academy, performing huge Shakespeare plays like A Midsummer Night's Dream and Much Ado About Nothing, going on tours through Bolivia, and eventually spending over 20 years teaching in Japan. It's a journey of constant adaptation, right? Getting up in front of entirely different audiences and trying to connect. And the core takeaway from decades of this hands-on experience is profound. Whether you're on a stage or standing at the front of the classroom, the absolute key to success was never just memorizing the lines or having raw knowledge. It was having the confidence to actually deliver it. And honestly, that theatrical lesson is the exact blueprint we need for the future.
If we take a quick step back and trace how information has evolved, things become pretty clear. Think back to the 1990s. The internet digitized information. Suddenly, you didn't have to trek to a library to find a fact. Then, in the 2000s, smartphones came along and crammed that entire global network of information right into our pockets. Fast forward to the 2020s, and artificial intelligence isn't just finding information for us anymore. It's synthesizing it, processing it, and generating complete answers. For generations, the smartest person in the room was simply the one who could memorize and recall the most facts. Well, looking at this progression, it's safe to say that era is officially over. Simple access to knowledge just isn't our competitive advantage anymore.
And we see this everywhere, don't we? Students and professionals are already leaning on AI every single week to tackle homework, build study guides, spark creative writing, and get instant, highly accurate translations. AI is no longer this distant, futuristic sci-fi concept. It is firmly embedded in our daily lives. It's a basic utility, kind of like electricity. But this raises a massive question. If the machine already holds the answer, what exactly is left for the student? What's left for the worker?
Which brings us to the core challenge of our new reality, the confidence gap.
The confidence gap is quite simply the space between knowing an answer and actually having the courage to speak or act on it. Picture this. You're sitting in a meeting, or maybe a classroom, and a tough question is asked. Your AI assistant, or hey, maybe just your own intuition, gives you the absolute perfect answer. But your heart starts racing, you start second-guessing yourself, you stay perfectly quiet, and the moment just passes you by. That brilliant piece of knowledge never made it out of your head. You see, knowledge doesn't automatically translate into communication. It doesn't automatically translate into action. Confidence is the bridge, and without that bridge, all the AI-generated answers in the world aren't going to help you make an impact.
So, how do we cross that gap? By focusing on irreplaceable human skills.
Look, AI is an absolute powerhouse. It is fantastic at processing massive mountains of data and churning out mechanical solutions based on patterns. Nobody's arguing that. But we really have to ask, what does it miss? Well, it completely misses the essential human context. AI can't deploy empathy to figure out how a decision is actually going to feel to a community. It doesn't possess core values to guide complex moral choices. And it definitely lacks the nuanced judgment required to navigate messy, real-world human relationships. These are not just soft skills anymore. In an automated world, these are literally our ultimate survival skills.
Because AI lacks those specific traits, there are 4 core human skills that are about to exponentially increase in demand: communication, leadership, creativity, and critical thinking. Let's break these down real quick. Communication isn't just about transferring data. It's about persuasion, tone, and genuine connection. Leadership is about rallying a group of real people behind a shared vision, something an algorithm just cannot inspire. Creativity is about deliberately breaking the rules to invent something entirely new, rather than just remixing old data. And critical thinking, that's what you use to look at an AI's output and say, okay, but is this actually true? And is it the right move for this specific situation? As the machines get smarter, these 4 uniquely human skills become your real superpower.
Now, let's reframe how we approach this in our next section, collaborating with AI.
What if we just stop competing against AI? Seriously, what if we stop viewing it as a threat and start enthusiastically using it as a collaborative partner? Think about arenas like Model UN, debates, and public speaking, where we're trying to solve complex global problems. When you prepare for a debate now, you don't have to waste 80% of your time just scouring the web for raw data or historical facts. You let AI do that heavy lifting. You partner with it. And then you spend your time doing what only you can do, structuring a compelling argument, practicing your delivery, reading your audience, and passionately arguing your case on the global stage. You become the leader, and AI is simply your incredibly fast research assistant. Together, that is an unstoppable combination.
And that perfectly sets the stage for our final theme, leading the future. Ultimately, the future is going to belong to people who communicate, create, lead, and act. Notice what is noticeably absent from that list. It doesn't say the future belongs to the people who can memorize the most facts, or the people who can process data the fastest. We have officially outsourced that. The future belongs to the active participants, the directors, the actors, the leaders. If you are willing to cultivate your own confidence, to purposefully cross that gap we talked about earlier, you're going to be the one commanding the room and utilizing the best tools humanity has ever built to drive actual change.
I want you to really pause and think about this question for a second. If you didn't have to worry about the technical how anymore, what is the profound why that you would choose to tackle? Seriously, imagine if, starting tomorrow, language barriers just vanished because of instant AI translation. Imagine if coding a website took 3 seconds, or if drafting a dense 50-page legal brief happened in the blink of an eye. If all the friction of how to do something was completely erased, what problem in your community or in the world would you actually point all that incredible power toward? Because when you strip away the busy work, all that is left is human intent and human courage.
So I'll leave you with this final, empowering thought to carry with you. AI may know the answer. Confidence is what allows you to use it. This completely flips the script from fear to opportunity, doesn't it? Don't be intimidated by the machine's knowledge. Use it. Cultivate your empathy. Sharpen up your critical thinking. And above all else, build that bold, theatrical confidence to speak up. Because having the right answer, that's really only the beginning. As you navigate your own learning journey in this new era, you have to ask yourself, once you finally cross that confidence gap and partner up with the machine, what exactly will you choose to build? Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.